Hello and welcome to today's pandemic update video. 97.5% of the country is in high to substantial levels of transmission. Over 2% of the country is in moderate to low levels of transmission, with the majority of the counties being in high transmission. Today's variant proportion shows that the BA.5 variant is still 88.8% of the cases, BA.4 is 5.3% of the cases, BA.4.6 is 5.1% of the cases, and the BA.2.12.1 variant is 0.8% of the cases. Taking a look at today's cases, we will see here that there were some weekly case totals that were added today, which makes the daily total up to 128,117 new cases reported today. Deaths, 480 deaths were reported today. And testing is at 750,312 tests. So that is higher than yesterday, but mind you, a lot of that's because some states do some weekly reportings on Tuesdays. Currently in the hospital, 40,896. That is up ever so slightly from yesterday by 20. ICUs are up to 4,910. That's up 7 from yesterday. Taking a look at the national map, you will see there were some slight changes today. The majority of the country is either flat or falling, but you'll notice Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Tennessee have now switched to rising cases. We also still have parts of the Northeast starting to rise again, and we're seeing a good bit of a rise in Michigan now. More on that in a little bit. Alright, coming into today's states. California, 41,376. That is down from last week's report at this time. And remember, they do a multi-day report on Tuesdays and Fridays. So this goes back to last Friday. Texas, 6,750 new cases. Florida, 6,941 new cases. New York State with 3,658 cases. Illinois, 3,800 cases. Then we come down here to Michigan, and we're actually going to click on Michigan. 23,165 new cases. Here's the problem with that. This is a weekly report. Last week's weekly report on last Tuesday was 16,137 new cases. That is 7,000 more cases this week compared to last week. That is very troubling and signals that they are rising. The northern states, as I have been projecting, I think are going to rise now. If we go back to the map here, look at Indiana. It's flat. It's going to start to rise. Pennsylvania, okay, up 1%, but it's probably likely going to start rising. And if we looked at Pennsylvania hospitalizations, we would see they did go up today. New Jersey, 2,800 new cases. Tennessee, 6,000 new cases. Virginia, 2,600 new cases. Wisconsin, 1,600 new cases. South Carolina, 13,640 cases, that's a weekly total, by the way. Colorado, 830. Louisiana, 1,900. Maryland, 2,800. Arkansas, 1,000. Mississippi, 1,500 new cases. Puerto Rico, 648 new cases. Oregon, 1,156 new cases. Connecticut, 602 new cases. Iowa, I believe this is a weekly number, or a multi-day total at least, 1,531 new cases. West Virginia, 772 new cases. Maine, 459 new cases. Remember, Maine is up 2.4% week over week. Wyoming, this is a weekly total, 1,014 cases. And there is another case that is not added today that will be into tomorrow's report, and that is First Lady Joe Biden tested positive for coronavirus today. She is isolating from the public and is said to have a mild case, like they all say. And Joe Biden so far is negative again. Remember, he had COVID, then he had a rebound case of COVID. All right, HHS hospitalizations, 41,170 people in the hospital. 73.74% of all beds in this country are currently in use. 5.92% of the people in the hospital are for coronavirus. Walgreens. The national positivity is down ever so slightly at 37.2%. However, positivity continues to rise in the state of Maine and sits at 34%. Positivity also continues to rise in Vermont at 23.9%. The positivity in Wyoming is now up to 36.5%. South Carolina today is at 39.7%. And if you notice here on the chart, they're going up at a good clip. Florida is rising somewhat again, 39.6% positivity. And finally, Texas, 43.2% positivity. Speaking of Texas, the Texas State Dashboard shows 25.74% positivity rate, and hospitalizations did rise back over 3,000 to 3,112. So that was a pretty significant rise. And if we zoom in here, we can see yesterday they were at 2,987. So it increased by 1,025 or so, somewhere about that. So yeah, that's a pretty big increase. Taking a look at New York State, as stated, 3,658 new cases, 4.5% positivity. Hospitalizations in New York State, the admissions today, there's 936 admissions, and the hospitalizations did rise back to 2,538. However, they are still lower than last Tuesday. So the overall trend is down, but it's not a rapid trend down. It's kind of a slow and steady. And I think eventually, as the next wave eventually kicks in for New York State, that will probably reverse sometime in September. Take a look at the worldwide numbers. You will see Brazil reports 23,040 new cases, India 6,900 new cases, France 6,300 new cases, Italy 8,900 new cases, South Korea 84,000 new cases, Russia 23,000 new cases, Japan 159,781 new cases, and 215 deaths added today. Speaking of deaths, let's see where they now sit on the total deaths, shall we? So Japan is still at number 30, but they're about to pass Ecuador, and they will soon pass Malaysia, and I think they will eventually get down to somewhere between 20th and 25th place by the time they are finished this wave of coronavirus. Alright, monkeypox outbreak. Today looking at the worldwide total, and the worldwide total is now at 37,654 cases. Coming down here looking at the various countries, 82 cases in Spain, 167 new cases in the UK, 43 in Germany, 32 new cases in Canada, 59 new cases in Peru, 105 new cases in Mexico, 15 in Nigeria, 10 in Poland. Then we come to the United States, which they now created their own page on monkeypox tally just for the United States. The United States is at 12,689 cases. With that, today, the United States added 799 new cases. That is a huge case up bounce from yesterday, but again, we have not had a day as high as last week, and I think there is somewhat of a lag. I don't know what seems to be the deal, but CDC apparently owes cases from Florida, Texas, and maybe New York State, not 100% certain, and don't know about any of the other states. If we come down here to the map, I mean, take a look at Texas. Texas has 992 new cases in Texas currently total, and there may be some missing cases there. Florida's at 1,085. Georgia's at 951. So any of these states that have a really high case amount, like New York State. New York State's number one, 2,376. Not all these high states are matching what the CDC has. The states are reporting higher numbers than what the CDC has, therefore indicating there could be a day later this week where we see a really high case dump. Of example, last week we had 1,424 on last Monday. We could see a day like that come later this week. Alrighty, that is all I have for you today. Remember to continue masking. Anywhere you go, as soon as you leave the house, put a mask on. If you're going to the grocery store, if you're going for a walk, anything. Mask is your friend. N95 or better. If you're going to get gas, wear gloves. It's the safe thing to do. They don't sanitize those gas pumps enough. Alright, thanks for watching, and remember to hit the like and subscribe button down below. I will see you next time. Stay safe, everyone.